are the ones suffering. Mazen Nandegano today is facing life sentence in Nigeria. Up to this moment, his appeal has not been talked about or discussed. We are still battling for his appeal to be heard. Look at Mazi Simon Ekpa. Mazi Simon Ekpa in the court, facing appeal, defending, protecting, and fighting for Biafra. You can imagine. You can imagine. It is sad. It is sad. But we, the Biafra, must wake up. We must wake up. If we don't wake up, it is going to be much more dangerous than it is already. Wherever you are as a Biafran. If we don't wake up, it is going to be much more difficult than it is already. We must be very careful. Every one of us. We must be very, very careful because the days are evil. The days are evil. There was one article that was written by Dr. Masanga that was directed to Finland, and I saw that article. I felt I should read it. It was written yesterday. I read it in my program yesterday evening. And the program said, the question said, he asked a very vital question to Finland authorities. Dr. Masanga asked a question. He said, does Finland know that we call, he said, does Finland know what is called red flag laws? This is a question that Dr. Masanga is asking on his platform, on X. I saw it yesterday. The question caught my attention. The statement, the article caught my attention. He said, does Finland know what we call red flag laws? And he went ahead to say, if Finland knew, when did it know about the conflict in Southeast Nigeria, Biafra? Since 2016. And what did it fail to know? Why did it know 7 years later in 2022? This is a very tactical and intelligent question. That if Finland authority can answer this very question adequately, they will have no reason to allow Mazen and someone able to spend a day in detention. A very critical question. He said, does Finland know what we call red flag laws? And he went ahead to say, if Finland knew, when did it know about the conflict in Southeast Nigeria, Biafra, since 2016? And what did it fail to know? Why did it know 7 years later in 2022? This question is deep. It's deep. Dr. David Inyakora Masanga. He went ahead to write. He said, if Finland knew, or ought reasonably to have known about the long-running conflict and political context in Southeast Nigeria, Biafra, what did it actually know? What did it fail to investigate since 2016? And how could that knowledge affect the legality of applying Finnish terrorism law to conduct arising from that conflict? Dr. David Nyakora Masanga. These are very deep and powerful questions that could end everything. When you see intelligent people talk, when you see intelligent people write, they don't need to say much. These questions can solve all the mystery in the case of Masanga. If Finland knew about what is happening since 2016 in Biafra land, or ought reasonably to have known about the long-running conflict and political context in southeast Nigeria, Biafra, what did it actually know? What does Finland know about what has happened since 2016? What information do they have? That is the question. What information does Finland have about things that are happening in Biafra land since 2016? What did it fail to investigate since 2016? What did Finland fail to investigate before accepting evidence from Nigeria? Before going to arrest Masanga, before presenting Masanga before the court? What did Finland fail to investigate since 2026? And how could that knowledge affect the legality of applying Finnish terrorism law to conduct arising from that conflict from 2026 to date? Dr. David Nyakoro Masanga, you are an intelligent man, no doubt. You are an intelligent man, no doubt whatsoever. You can go to his platform and read that article by yourself so that you can understand it properly. Because Finland, if they have done their due diligence, there is no reason why someone will spend a second in detention. Just like he said, they are holding the wrong person. And I pray that they do the right thing before it is too late. I pray that Finland do the right thing before it is too late. Because we cannot continue in this kind of madness and idiocy. They have a great and wonderful opportunity to redeem themselves if they choose to. And if they do not want to redeem themselves, it is still up to them. It is still up to them. Finland have the opportunity to redeem themselves. They have the opportunity to redeem themselves. And if they fail to do so, they are going to face the consequence. Every one of us know how Finland is respected across the world. Every one of us know how Finland is respected all over the world. How Finland is appreciated. Everyone knows the standard that the whole world, the level that the world kept Finland. There's no doubt that their human rights status is excellent. Their human rights status is excellent. But I don't know if I should say the same now. I do not know if I should continue to say that their human rights status is excellent. I don't know if I should say the same. They have the opportunity. They have the right now to redeem themselves, to take back their image that have been ruined by Nigeria. Because everything that comes across Nigeria gets contaminated. Anything that comes across Nigeria gets contaminated. There's nothing that comes across Nigeria and remain the same. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Everything that comes in contact with Nigeria can never, ever be the same again. We have so many examples. One of the examples you can know is the Christian genocide, the Donald Trump camp and the Christian genocide. You see how they ridiculed Donald Trump. You see how they ridiculed Donald Trump. After coming to Nigeria to make investigation, for one reason or the other, he decided to pay attention to the Nigerian government, to the people who were giving him wrong informations. And they soft pedal the Christian genocide that we know is still going on. And they decide to work with Nigerian government. Today, tell me, what is the outcome of working with Nigerian government? Has Christian genocide stopped? Have they slowed down? Instead of slowing down, they increase their force. They increase their pressure. Anyone that comes in contact with Nigeria will never remain the same. Our case of Simom, Ekpa Finland will be the greatest lesson they can ever learn. This is a developing legal matter. And that is why I want everyone watching today to stay with us. Hang on there. Continue to pay attention. We are examining the evidence, the issues surrounding the appeal, and the wider question that have generated enormous interest among Biafrans and observers around the world. But before we go further, let me make one thing very clear. We are here to discuss proceedings responsibly. That is what we do every day. We discuss proceedings of Masanga cause responsibly. We will distinguish between what the defense is arguing, what the prosecution has alleged, what has been established by the court, and what remains a matter for the judge to determine. We are not the judge. Judges determine. We are not the court. We are not the prosecution. We are not the defense. The final determination belongs to the Finnish judiciary. We will continue to call on the Finnish judiciary to follow the rule of law. That is all we can do. The final determination belongs to the Finnish judiciary. And that is precisely why today's discussion is so important. Because when somebody is facing a serious criminal proceeding, the fundamental principle of fair trial, due process, evidence, and the rule of law matters. This is why we are speaking the way we speak. This is why we are still bringing out the atrocities of Nigerian government, even while the case is going on. While the accusation is going on, we are seeing the atrocities intensify, and we must have to continue to highlight it. So when you are watching from this morning program, I want you to settle down. If you are in Finland, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, United States, any part of the world, Europe, America, Australia, Canada, wherever you are, we will continue to update everybody according to verified information that is on our table. Wherever you are watching from. Today's proceedings are important because an appeal is not simply another opportunity to repeat everything that happened previously. No. An appeal gives the relevant court an opportunity to examine the issues raised against the earlier decisions according to the applicable law and procedures. And that is what the defense is doing today. This is where the defense becomes particularly important. And the defense of Simom are doing extremely well. So far, so good. They are doing extremely well. The defense has the responsibility of presenting its argument and challenging aspects of the case that is believed required further examination. That is what is happening in the court today. That could involve questions concerning evidence. It could involve questions concerning interpretation of the law. It could involve question about the circumstances surrounding the allegation, just like you see Dr. Masanga putting down things down. And it could involve argument concerning whether the earlier decision properly addressed the issue before the court. So, as we follow today's development, I want everybody watching to pay attention to one central question. What exactly is the defense asking the appeal court to consider? What is exactly the defense asking the appeal court to consider? That should be something that is good. So we need to be thinking critically. What is the question? Not social media rumors, not speculation, not propaganda from either side. The evidence, the argument, the law, that is what we want to pay attention to. That is why we are here. The defense team has continued to present its position in the appeal proceedings. And this is where today's hearing becomes particularly significant. The defense is expected to challenge the prosecution's case, put forward arguments intended to support Mazi Simon Ekpa appeal. That is what they are doing in the court. Now, viewers, there is something important here. When lawyers present an argument in court, that argument does not automatically become a fact simply because it has been presented. It must be examined. It must be tested. And that is what is going on. They are testing every single evidence that was presented against Mazi Simon is being put to test. Every single evidence is put to test. And ultimately, the court determines what weight should be attached to the evidence and argument. That is how functional legal system is supposed to work. And that is what we expect to see in the court of Finland. Because to an extent, they have a functional system. So when we say the defense is presenting strong evidence, what we mean is that the defense consider the evidence and argument significant to its case. The court will ultimately decide how convincing those arguments are. And that distinction is extremely important. That is why I say, don't stop praying. Continue to be on your knees and pray for Mazi Simon Ekpa. It is very important. Now, let's come to one of the issues generating considerable discussion among supporters of Biafra cause. One of the things that we must have in mind is that the right to self-determination is our right. Self-determination is our right. At this most basic level, self-determination concerns the principle that people have a right to determine their political status and pursue their political, economic, and social and cultural development. That is what Mazi Simon Ekpa is standing for, pursuing. Self-determination, nothing else. But there are serious legal questions surrounding how the principle operates in particular circumstances and what is where we must be careful. They will always try to twist it. You know, there is a slim, very slim rope in between that. That was why you see Mandela was called a terrorist. Martin Luther King was called a terrorist. But at the end of the day, they are the most popular men in the world today who are known as freedom fighters. But when they were fighting, they were known as terrorists because of the slim rope between self-determination and the right of the will. The existence of general principle of self-determination does not automatically mean that every action carried out in pursuit of political objective is legally protected. Different bodies of international and domestic laws can apply. I want you to keep your mind open while we are following the case of Mazi Simon Ekpa. Our duty is to continue to educate Biafrans, push out the necessary information to the public, and turn the public opinion to our own advantage. Therefore, the debate surrounding Simon Ekpa case requires careful examination of specific facts. the applicable Finnish law, and the legal argument presented by both sides. And that is exactly why the proceedings matters. Because if the defense believes that questions concerning political expression, self-determination are related, principled, and relevant to the case, then the court has the responsibility to consider those arguments according to the law. And that is what we are seeing in the court today. One of the things that Simon Ekpa is defending today is the issue of self-defense. Another issue that someone have raised repeatedly, self-defense. Self-defense is very important. But of course, you know that self-defense must be approached carefully. This is one of the things they used to rope human rights activists in. Self-defense is a legal concept. Its meaning depends heavily on the circumstances and the law being applied. Did you hear that? What Simon was preaching and doing was self-defense. And you see why it is important. Like the video I'm showing today, where they are taking the life of Biafra. Even as we speak, protest is going on. More people are losing their life. People who are armless, they have no weapon, nothing. But every time they attack us. This is not the first, not the second, not the last. The attack started even before Simon ever joined the struggle. It cannot simply be interpreted to mean that anything done in the name of political struggle automatically becomes lawful. We know that. That is why a court must examine the facts. What happened? Who did? And that is what we are presenting to the world. What happened in Biafra land since 2015 to date? Even the politicians have answered it in Nigeria. Their media have answered it. Amnesty International have answered it and gave a report of what happened since 2016 to date. What happened? Who did what? Just like I'm showing you the Nigerian government terrorist militant killing the Biafrans. Just like we're exposing Udele, taking responsibility for murdering Biafrans. But today they are holding the wrong man, accusing him of insecurity that has nothing to do with him. He was not seen in the scene of crime. All he was advising his people to defend themselves. What evidence exists? What was the intention? The intention of Simon Ekpa is not to attack anybody or to take any life. It was to protect life. To protect life. He said it, typed that number. To protect life. What laws apply? And what conclusion can legitimately be drawn from the evidence they are presented against Simon Ekpa? These are the questions that matters. What conclusion can be drawn from the evidence Simon Ekpa himself, his legal team, his defense counsel are presenting today? Because evidence is Yakasa. The evidence we are presenting in the court today. What conclusion can legitimately be drawn from those evidence? And viewers, I want you to remember something. A serious legal debate should never be reduced to slogans. If we genuinely want justice, we must be prepared to examine the complicated questions. That is why we are asking Finland to follow due process. Because Simon Ekpa was not given an opportunity before he was sentenced to 60 years. We are calling for due process. Let's talk about something that should be concerned every something that should concern everyone watching this broadcast. Due process. Due process. Due process is very important. We know Finland to be a land of due process, a land of rule of order. And we don't want Nigeria to influence that with their corruption. That is why we are shouting and concerned. We don't want them to influence Finland with their corruption. Whether you support Simon Ekpa or oppose him, due process matters. Because the justice system is supposed to operate according to established proceedings. A person facing criminal allegation should have the opportunity to know the case against him, challenge the evidence, have legal representation, and present their defense according to applicable law. And when an appeal takes place, the issue raised by the appellant should be examined through the proper legal process. That is what we are asking for. And we believe that is what is going on in Finland. This principle is bigger than one individual. It is bigger than one political movement. It is bigger than Biafra. It is bigger than Nigeria. It is a question of what kind of justice system society wants. Because today may be Simom. Just like you see, today is Masanga. Today may be Simom. Tomorrow, it could be somebody else. It could be you. It could be me. That is why the rule of law must always be followed. Because today, it might be someone else and Joko. Tomorrow, it could be someone else. And if we believe in the rule of law, then the same fundamental principle should be applied regardless of whether we like or dislike the person standing before the court. So it is not about liking, race, or anything. Everybody should be treated equal. The rule of law must be applied. The rule of law means that individual, institution, government are subjected to law. That legal process should operate according to established rules. In Nigeria, it's a lawless country, no established rules, and that is why we are scared for Masanga. That is why the only redemption in the case of Masanga is the international community, and we are pushing hard on that. It means that allegations should be determined through evidence and legal procedures. It means that courts should be able to examine argument independently, and it means that the final outcome should be determined by the applicable law rather than by social media pressure, political pressure. No. This is why I want everyone watching to remain calm, wherever you're watching from. Observing and following this case, remain calm. Don't allow anybody to provoke you into making irresponsible statements. Don't allow anybody. Just like the brave people have said today, don't keep yourself busy winning arguments, contesting and insulting each other. Masanga have also warned, we are one. Stop fighting. We must remain calm. Don't allow anybody to provoke you into making irresponsible statements. You must not threaten anybody. Don't attack anybody. Don't spread unverified information. If you support Masanga, support him peacefully. Let us give him support peacefully. No need fighting each other or fighting anybody for any reason whatsoever. If you disagree with him, express your disagreement peacefully. Many who disagree with me here, they come online, they talk. I allow them to talk. Only when they become noisy and violent or insulting, I remove them. We can have strong political disagreement without turning the discussion into threat or violence. And that is what I'm asking for. And that's why we are here. There is a clear, significant interest among Biafrans concerning these proceedings. Many supporters see the case as much larger than one individual. Many of us, we see the case of Masanga as bigger than just that name, Masanga. It is Biafra that is on the test. It is Biafra that is persecuted. It is Biafra that is in that dock answering question. It is connected to long-standing questions concerning political identity, self-determination, human rights, governance, and the future of a people that identify with Biafra. This case is about our future. It's about us. That explains why development from England are being followed so closely. That is why we have sleepless nights following the case. That is why people are flying from different parts of the world, going to Finland to see for themselves. But there is another responsibility that comes with that attention. We must not allow emotion to replace fact. Don't allow emotion to replace fact. We are so emotional. I know. I understand so many of us, we are so emotional.